This video is not for persons under the age of 13. By watching this video, you are declaring that you are above 13 years of age. Hello and welcome to today's painting. It's a watercolour. It's not going to be black and white as the reference is, but we're going to have lots of colours in it, of a lady reclining, and it's a simple image, but I just thought I'd have a go at this. So what I will do first is apply the already drawn out picture. We will apply that and then we'll get down to painting it. Right, I'll centre that somewhere in the as best I can. Just eye it up like that. Make sure that it's not going to move while I'm transferring it. And on the other side of the paper I've put graphite, so it should transfer it. So just making sure that that's stuck down. That should make sure that if it does move, it goes back to where it is. So we're ready to make a start. I'll be very careful with this pencil because these are more than capable of going through these types of paper. So I'm really just going around the outline that I drew earlier. Don't want to be overly detailed with it. Doing the eyes. Top of the head there. And how the hair starts coming out like that. And then she's got her hands there. That's kind of fading into the darkness. And like that. And then the elbow. Comes round like that. And then this section here. Part of her chin. Not far off from done here. Just making sure I've got a rough idea where the eye is. And I'm definitely going to put certain areas where there's a change in tonal value, especially around these areas. And again on this side, because light is going to be coming from there, so it's the upper part. Again, that's another area where that light will be different, and that's it drawn out. So let's just have a look, see what we've got done, and there you go, you've got that drawn. So that's how to get your drawing accurately put onto your watercolour paper without having to do lots of rubbing out, and you draw the image on a separate piece of paper and trace it onto there, and then you're not going to be getting lots of horrible rubbing out or things like that when you realise that you've not done it right. So let's now move on to actually painting the image. So here are potentially the brushes that I might use. A nice thick fluffy round brush. We've got a brush that when it's wet goes to a really nice point, and again a pointed mop brush. That's a quill pointed mop, and the workhorse, an hake. It's an old hake, it's dropping to bits but I love it. So there is brushes. Here's my watercolours today, White Nights. So if we can open them. A nice arrangement of colours, and that's what I'll be using. Other bits and bobs that I will need. Use quite a bit of tissue paper and Old Faithful dab rag for getting rid of too much water that might be on your brush. First, let's get a key colour in with the hake brush, covering large areas. What I do want to do is make sure that I don't go over any really highlighted areas, so I'm being careful to work around any highlights. I'm using a lemon yellow colour here, but I will keep making this considerably darker, adding stronger versions of this lemon yellow, and then going into a yellow ochre, as you can see there. And now I'm starting to make it go a lot darker. We moved on to a different colour totally for the clothing that she's wearing there. Unfortunately, the sun were playing tricks on me throughout this painting, so it keeps going light dark, and there weren't a lot I could do about that, so I apologise to start with. So we're letting little bits blend, and we're also looking for areas that just slightly darker, and we're getting a bit of red colour in there, and this really starts to help define the large areas, and we will soften some of these edges as well because they do look quite hard, although it is good to keep things like that in the painting in certain areas. Again, we're going to keep with this trying to find areas of light. We can blot some out with some paper. I'm using the pointed mop quill brush now for precision, and I'm just adding water to it now to soften some of the edges and blend one or two of the edges into one another, so you've got a cohesive feel to it. Again, we're getting another layer, a deeper, darker layer, and we're going to do little bits of areas, and this is where the the details starting to come through. We're getting into a colour tone now where it's got quite a bit of blue in the redder colour, and we're starting to get slightly purpley. Some detail in there on the clothing, and we're really starting to pick out the areas of the painting that will be fairly dark. So again, it is really detailing work with this brush at the moment, and there's a fairly dark area there, that little triangle, and defining, keep defining. There's a dark area. We'll emphasize that even more later, and eventually by doing this process you will get to a stage where you can create a very three-dimensional kind of image, but you have to keep building up from light right through to the darker areas, and the darker areas obviously you don't put a huge amount of paint on that, so, and you're getting less and less and less as you get more and more detailed, and defining and constantly keeping that definition going, finding areas that can blend into one another, because we don't want it to be overly strong in the hard line work. It wants to be a kind of soft kind of feel. We're getting fairly close to getting things finished, and we're just doing a little bit of work now in background areas, and all that is needed to be done really is a little bit of softening and a little bit of blending, and we should be there about done. Here is the final painting with little bits of adjustments here and there at the end of the video, and this is obviously the video view. We'll have a look now at the picture as a photo, because you get to see a lot more from a photograph than you do from a video. Here's the high resolution photo of the painting. I've done a few adjustments. I went back and repainted that arm because it looked as though it were crooked, so I've softened that up, and I've altered where that eye is because it looked a bit over this side, so I've made an adjustment there and altered that. But apart from that, that's your painting as it is. I hope you've enjoyed watching this and you've got something from it, and we will see you the next time we do a painting. Bye for now.